Alright, so back at Destiny. Let's see if we can have some fun this time around. Actually, no. Destiny's a fun game now. Bungie fixed it. They detached from Activision. They left the hands of their oppressors. So maybe they updated the game with some good content. I say it like I haven't been playing this game for like weeks on end. But ever since I built my PC, I've been playing Destiny 2, and it's actually an enjoyable experience now. And it's funny because no one shits on Destiny harder than I did, because like I got the Destiny limited edition and all the knickknacks when it first came out on PS3, and because I wanted this game to be like the most amazing thing ever. Like I wanted an excuse to never have to play any other game ever again. And it was good when like for the most part, and then like when you got towards the end game, it just became super repetitive and there was nothing to do. Same thing happened with Destiny 2, but Bungie has this entirely new format where it's free to play. You know, you can go back and replay the old content and stuff. Only thing you had to pay for is Forsaken, Shadowkeep, and a new thing they're coming out with. But there's literally loads of things you can do in this game now, so it's like it's actually very, very enjoyable. So.
You're beaten.
God, dude. Fuck Destiny. It's actually an enjoyable experience now. Ooh.
C lost.
What? They didn't even show up till I died, dude. That's what I'm talking about, dog. Oh, fucking lag, man. It's actually very, very enjoyable. Crucible. Test your true mettle in this no-holds-barred deathmatch against other Guardians, where it's all about skill and not luck at all, or any bullshit grenades or supers. Pure, raw skill, people. Yeah, okay. That I clearly don't have. Destiny's a fun game now.
Fuck this fucking game, dude. Fuck this fucking piece of shit game. I'm gonna just try to do a fucking raid or something. I'm tired of this shit.
It's actually an enjoyable experience now. Destiny's a fun game now. Bungie fixed it. They
We called it the Traveler, and its arrival changed us forever.
Destiny first released in September of 2014 and was announced in 2013 at E3. It was a game that was on everyone's radar, casual and enthusiast crowds alike, and for good reason. The sheer scope of what had been presented at the time was unprecedented. It had received critical acclaim from would-be consumers, journalists, and mainstream media outlets all the same. Simply put, there's nothing like it in the history of gaming at the time, and I would even argue and go so far as to call it the most ambitious title in gaming history. With a whopping $500 million budget allocated to Bungie for a 10-year plan, that included top-notch voice acting, visuals, graphics, marketing, and a vision of endless possibilities. But in the end, that was Destiny's downfall. In the trailer, the speaker spoke of how the Traveler's arrival changed us, but it wasn't a change for the better. Upon the game's initial release, millions of players flocked to the game to experience what the next level of gaming had to offer, only to receive a fraction of what was promised, and that forever left a sour taste in the mouths of gamers all over, and opened the gate to many frowned upon business practices that we see today in gaming companies, like the release of unfinished titles, cutting content to add later in DLC, or in general, games that appeal more to shareholders and executives more than the people who play the games. That was the start of Bungie's negative track record, but that never kept players away for too long, including myself. In this video, I want to talk about how I feel about Destiny, the good, the bad, but ultimately, why I keep coming back for more. So let's go ahead and get right started into this video. To say Bungie bit off more than they could chew is a monumental understatement. It's like watching an ant try to down a 20-ounce sirloin in one bite. They had built up all this massive hype, so it made it very easy to disappoint a large base of people. The initial game was cut and shredded beyond recognition with missing content only to be sold back to us later in DLC installments that very well should have been in the base game. If you look back to some of the old trailers, you can see story elements that are in those trailers that are completely cut from the game. Even in other videos, you can see where players clip through the walls and access other areas of the game through glitches and see that the assets are already programmed to the game, just locked behind walls and doors. In fact, in this next clip that I made, this pretty much encapsulates what Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 were on launch, and it's actually pretty funny. Hope you enjoy it.
That's all you get for free.
Throughout development, it was stated that a large portion of the game had to be reworked due to staff and game devs leaving the project, which has contributed to the lackluster experience. With the new content we did have, it left much to be desired outside of the one raid at the time, which was the Vault of Glass. In-game consisted of doing nothing but rerunning the same missions and strikes over and over again, only to meet a weekly quota, and then that was it. The game was structured in a way to where new things were supposed to be rotated into play every week, but that content could all be easily completed in a day, leaving the rest of the week for boring and monotonous grinding. And on top of that, an absolutely abysmal, broken loot system, which made the grind even more frustrating and drawn out. Real OGs from Destiny know how it feels to bring a legendary engram to Rahul, only to have him give you a blue after hours of grinding, or getting a purple out of an exotic engram. The loot was so bad that players had to exploit glitches in enemy spawns in what is now infamously known as the loot cave. Now, what you're seeing here is the pinnacle of Destiny endgame content. Watch as players fire into a cave where enemies spawn just to get them to drop loot. And the amount of time you spend here can range from, 30 minutes to hours, instead of actually playing the game. Now, this looks fun and enjoyable, doesn't it? This looks fairly engaging, the multiplayer content that we all paid for. Thank you, Bungie. Thank you for giving us this amazing experience. Outside of the very small list of rotational activities, there is nothing to do but wait for the weekly reset and DLC in the endgame. The first two DLCs eventually came out, but they were disappointing as well. The content was fresh and new, but the endgame never changed, which only made it seem like Destiny tried to cover their problem instead of fixing it, and this became a common trend throughout Destiny 1 and 2, with some exceptions. Eventually, people started to enjoy Destiny 1 with Taken King and Rise of Iron because they added more to the experience with activities such as sparrow racing, high-level public events, and harder versions of pre-existing raids and the in-game content, leaving much to do by the end of the game's lifecycle. So with this positive change, a lot of players who had left the game decided to come back and try to experience again with Destiny 2 when it was announced. Bungie had promised an experience that will be better than Destiny 1 in every single way, only to capitalize on what they had learned to make the experience even better. That means an added story which was easier to follow, more expansive open world hubs, more engaging in-game content, and a much wider scope for the Destiny universe as a whole. And more badass trailers.
There will be no coming back.
It's worth it.
If the Red Legion want war, give them war. Humanity never deserved power. I am God, and I alone am worthy.
This is great. Anyone want a hug? No hugs.
Oh
Anyone want a hug? No hugs.
Oh my god, dude. I love the Destiny trailer so much. Oh man, it just gets me so fucking hyped, like every single time. Honestly, The video really didn't have to be this long. I could just be like, y'all want to know the real reason why I keep coming back to play Destiny? It's cause of the motherfucking trailers, dog. They be motherfucking hitting, dog. Just all in the right places. It's like, alright, so you got Shax, right? He's like, if the Red Legion want war, then give them war. Nigga came out with this shit. It's like, duh. It's like, yo. Like, you're just thinking about all the shit you're gonna get into with your fire team, dog. I was like, this shit is OD. And it's not even my favorite trailer. Let me show you guys my favorite trailer. I'm sorry, I'm like going off, but one more.
You're ready.
You're ready, Guardian. With the fucking boat. I've seen it before, but it's still hype. Look at the fucking Stormcaller, bro. Look, you got the motherfucking hammer in that bitch, yo. It's so good. Taken King, man. Chaperone that bitch.
Oryx is coming, Guardian.
Oryx is coming.
Got his attention.
He got his attention.
Now, go get his head.
Go get his head. Oh my god. And like, I know this doesn't seem like a genuine reaction because I've seen this trailer already, but like, no, I really get hype every time I watch a Destiny trailer, dog. They just do it so fucking good. Like, it just brings me back because like Taken King, that was like the one, man. Like me and all the homies, like we played that shit nonstop, and it's a bunch of good memories, man. I love Destiny so much. Fuck Destiny. Okay, so coming back to the actual video, I definitely forgot where I was, and you probably did too. Let me check back my notes. Okay. So we were talking about the introduction of Destiny 2 and Bungie improving on everything this time around, or them claiming to have. So, you know, with all the trailers and them saying the game is going to be better than Destiny 1 in every single way, it drew everyone back into the electric boogaloo, so to speak. But we were much more skeptical of Bungie this time around. We decided to give it a try anyways, because of what they had did with the first game, and the genuine sense of trust because we still had faith that Destiny could be the game everyone wanted it to be since the series' introduction. But in the end, it was underwhelming as well. Because of the same launch issues Destiny 1 had, but worse. It's like they hit the rewind button and forgot everything they did to make the first game great. They overhauled the PvP, making it a super sweaty mess by changing it from 6v6 to 4v4. They took away the individuality of Guardians and loot by having the same armor sets for in-game, and no random perks on weapons. And the most sought after items in Destiny, the exotics, they were too easy to acquire, which made any kind of in-game content useless to play after a while, aside from the raid, which was underwhelming and boring in of itself. They tried too hard to appeal to the casual crowd by trying to make the game too accessible, which in turn turned away the very community that kept the first game alive all this time. Accessibility is great in gaming, but you have to know when it becomes too much and starts to teeter on the line of hand-holding. Destiny is a game where the most fun can be had when it is challenging. Bungie got slammed for it, and it caused me, along with many other players, to leave before the first DLC even dropped this time around, because we knew all too well what happens next, and we were tired of it. But everything seemed to go uphill after a while, once they dropped Activision as a publisher and decided to go their own way. With all the negative things Destiny has, it's easy to say it's a terrible game, which isn't really the case at all. It has amazing gameplay and some cool elements and ideas to it. The problem was that it did not meet up to everyone's expectations, which was Bungie's fault ultimately. They advertised the game like it was going to be like the second coming of Jesus or something, or like real life Sword Art Online. So it's like meeting someone online, talking to them, getting to know them and whatnot, scheduling to meet up with them in person for a date, only found they look nothing like they do in their pictures. We've essentially got catfished by Bungie, and we all know how that feels.
Oh! Oh, Lord! Damn!
With all that being said, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have any fond memories of Destiny. In fact, some of my most cherished memories in gaming, or just memories of all time in general, come from Destiny and playing with my friends.
Oh my god.
Guess what we did?
I haven't opened it
Caused
yet.
pandemonium amongst the cabal, detonated vehicles, pulverized a commander.
Yes. How'd you know?
From the unbearable racket.
Oh, I got it! I got it! I got an exotic engram. I'm not even joking. I got an exotic engram.
Yeah, I know, I fucking saw it. I'm going to Lost Boys. I'm doing another one. You're a fucking bitch. What would happen if you saw it?
I did it! I did it! I did it! I did it! I did it!
Milk waterfall. Can we stop and... Aw.
How'd you do it?
I jumped in the air and spawned it as I was falling down.
Oh. No! Damn it! Go in the boat! Yeah!
You did it?
Don't let me do it. Fuck.
Oh my god.
There's fucking back here.
I saw the whole thing.
You'll fuck it.
Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever felt such a sense of accomplishment and joy playing any other video games with my friends. The people I play with in Destiny, we're even friends now in real life. We keep up with each other on social media, and we know each other. We know each other's real names. And if you're watching this video, I hope you're doing well. Playing Destiny together really made us feel like we were a part of something bigger. And while the lore of the Destiny universe was vast, and there was many legends in the story who performed great feats, you and your fire team felt like legends of your own, carving your name into the history of you and your friends' stories. You always remember the first people you raided with. For instance, me and my friends, I had a group of friends I played with. They're from the Bahamas, and they were part of this group called the 242. And we used to run Crucible every now and then. And they had this person they would run with. His name was Fist of Havoc. And I thought it was the most badass thing because he's literally named after the Titan Super. And we're all very good at PvP. During the PS3 and early PS4 days, we were top 1% in the servers for PvP, so we weren't really anything to mess with. But this guy, Fist of Havoc, he was so good. Every time he used Fist of Havoc in the Crucible, you would see in the kill feed where he'd get 5 or 6 kills. And I'd be like, yo, how is this dude so good? And I'd never forget him. Or another moment I look back on is during the early days of Destiny 2, the Trials of the Nine came out, which is like a ranked PvP mode. It's 4v4, and you have to have a squad of your friends to compete. And the goal is to go flawless for, I think, 7 games without losing. And it was me, Yano, One Bay, and my friend Jacob. We all ran Trials of the Nine, and we met up with some of the 242 squads. We met up with some of their buddies, and they were also playing from the Bahamas. And we're at the last game that we had to win before going flawless. And then they ended up absolutely destroying us to the point to where the round count, it was 1 to 5. You have to win 6 rounds to win the game. And then we ended up bringing it all the way back at the literal last second. And I will never forget that moment. That's going to be in my memory forever, because we all came together as a team and we pulled that W out.
Guardian down.
Don't let him defuse.
Lethal and decisive. One foe left. All opponents.
Guardian down.
Got one. Fuck off,
One
nigga.
opponent remains.
Watch him, watch him. Don't approach, he's gonna be forced to. Do not approach.
I'm not. I'm luring him to me. I got excited.
I'm watching left. Oh my god. Come on.
One enemy remains.
Go. Be careful, be extremely careful. Defend it. Go. Please.
No! It's halfway. It's only halfway.
Let's go. Yeah.
Judgment.
Yes.
Alright, we gotta save that. If those were like your boys, you talked them all up, we gotta save that. And you could argue that the people you play with shouldn't have a big effect on the quality of the game at its core, and I can say that is true in a lot of cases, but this game is made to be played with other people, so playing alone is really a disservice, especially when the in-game content is so difficult and demanding of cooperation. It's a joy to have that experience with friends, and I will definitely say Destiny can be very frustrating at times. But it's not because of a genuine sense of hate for the game, it's just a greater sense of passion and wanting the game to be better. But once you get that momentum going, there's nothing else like it. Once you harness all that energy and turn it into bloodthirst, you will find yourself snatching souls in no time. In the Crucible, you'll feel like a god. Or maybe that's just me because I'm fucking godlike at this game, but who knows. Leaving the game after getting burnt out was very common for me though, but the people in the community is always what made me come back. And one could say anything they want about Destiny, but the greater community did speak for itself. Fast forward to 2020, I've been away from the game for 2 years now. Destiny has announced its new Beyond Light expansion, dropped Activision as a publisher, which allows them to do what they want with the direction of the game, which has led to amazing content and creativity. There's loads of new weapons, customization options, a system to make your Guardian look how you want them to look without sacrificing stats, and most importantly, different and exciting game modes that can keep you busy all week. They even made the game free to play so returning players can come see all that has been improved on. It's like the off chance that your ex actually goes to therapy, realizes they were wrong, and genuinely changes. Or maybe that's just an elaborate lie to suck me back in, who knows. But I'm back playing the game, and honestly I can say, this is the game we wanted 6 years ago, and I'm very happy to have been part of the journey. Give it a try. What do you have to lose? It's free. This is Luxray, signing out. Peace.